In the 7th and final ACT English section, we'll be discussing specific detail and placement questions. First, with regard to specific detail questions, we'll be talking about questions that say things like, given that all the choices are true, which one best does something? We should be looking for the answer choice that has these three features: the most information, the most specific information, and the most relevant information. In other words, an example like 1,000 turkey sandwiches is always better than a lot of tasty food, which is obviously much more vague. Number 1, quills are hollow, so prematurely losing a quill stub would be a noticeably painful experience for a bird. Given that all of the choices are true, which one most clearly provides a reason for the statement that follows in this sentence? So for this question, we want a specific detail that relates to the idea that losing a quill stub would be a painful experience. The answer choice that best does that is B, are fastened deeply. If something's fastened deeply, it holds that losing it before it's ready would be painful. Number 2. Thousands of years ago, people around the world started to attach different stories to the stars in the night sky. The images of a winged horse, a drinking gourd, and a heartbroken hero appear in the sky to the astute observer. In some cases, a pattern of stars may represent a simple idea that is seen in everyday life. In other cases, the pattern or constellation may be a figure with a different kind of meaning. Given that all the choices are true, which one ends this paragraph with the clearest allusion to Orion, the mythological hunter? Answer choice C here, who plays a dramatic role in a myth that has been told and retold for centuries, clearly is an allusion to the story of Orion. Number 3. 3 bright stars that I've read about are particularly important to a large number of people. Given that all the choices are true, which one offers visual information about the stars as they appear in modern times? So what's key for this question is looking for the answer choice that talks specifically about the appearance of the stars. The only answer choice that actually does that is D. Together, roughly form a straight line. Number 4. The laundry machines are dark blue, and the paneling on the walls has been painted the exact same color, although it was later polished with some kind of artificial wood grain finish. At this point, the author wants to add a sentence that would further describe the laundromat's paneling. Which of the following sentences would best accomplish this? So again, we're looking at something that would describe the paneling. The answer choice that best gives an impression of what the paneling looks like is A. I guess the brushstrokes are intended to resemble wood grain, but they don't. That gives us some additional idea of what the paneling looks like. Number 5. The tide has retreated, beaching various sea creatures after a stormy night. An upturned horseshoe crab and a maroon jellyfish with its still dangerous tentacles. Given that all choices are true, which one would most vividly describe the various sea creatures after the stormy night? So looking at the answer choices that we're provided with here, the current sentence provides the most vivid description of the sea creatures, so we'll choose A for no change. Next, moving on to the idea of ordering sentences, what will also come up frequently in these questions. We need to make sure we read the placement sentence with the one before and after it. It's important to put full names, for example, Albert Einstein, before a shortened version, Einstein said, and personal pronouns, he said. Demonstratives like this, that, these, or those should appear before their antecedents so that there are clear antecedents in the sentence. And we also need to, of course, make sure sentences follow a chronological order and tell a coherent story. So we need to make sure that critical information is introduced before the ideas that follow that information. Number 6. Last March, I had to travel to Fairbanks, Alaska for a work meeting. Though we hadn't spoken in the last 20 years, when I called Joan to suggest a meeting, we talked as though we hadn't missed a day. Through my parents, who were still close friends with Joan's father, I learned that Joan had moved to Fairbanks a few years back. Here we're being asked which of the following sequences of sentences makes paragraph 3 most logical. So looking at the 3 sentences in this passage, we need to ask ourselves what information has to be introduced first for the order of the events to make sense. Here, answer choice B makes the most sense because we have some information about where Joan lives that then prompts the narrator to reach out about a meeting. that helps us to form a coherent narrative in the passage. Number 7. Down the street from my college campus, the Save You laundromat is always open. It is on a corner across the street from a grocery store on one side and a big park on the other. The park isn't really much of a park at all, as it's more a part of the grounds of a private boarding school. But no one is ever around to enforce the threats, and in the summer, everyone enjoys the benches, the grass, and the cool magnificence of the shade trees. Signs are posted all over the lawn, threatening harsh legal action against trespassers. For the sake of logic and coherence, sentence 5 should be placed where? So this passage is confusing because we are being told about no one being around to enforce threats before we learn about what these threats are, these harsh legal actions against trespassers. Therefore, we should put sentence 5 after sentence 3 so that we know in sentence 4. Number 8. Scientists and philosophers have long been interested in the neural correlates of human consciousness. Recent research also suggests that a variety of interconnected brain areas support certain conscious experiences, such as metacognition and self-awareness, even in non-human primates. Some psychologists in history have pointed to specific brain regions, like the frontal lobes, as responsible for consciousness, but contemporary research indicates that consciousness is an emergent brain property. Understanding the origins of consciousness that has the potential to completely subvert current understanding of psychology and of humanity. In what order should the sentences above be placed in? Looking at our answer choices here, answer choice C is the best option of the 4 because sentence 3 talks about the research and sentence 2 is a specific research finding, so 3 should come in advance of 2. Number 9. 3 bright stars that I've read about are particularly important to a large number of people. Given that all the choices are true, which one offers visual information about the stars as they appear in modern times? So in this question, we need to pay very close attention to what they are asking for. We should be looking for the answer choice that talks about how the stars look. The only answer choice that does that is D. Together roughly form a straight line. The other answer choices don't talk at all about appearance and therefore are not addressing the criteria the question is asking about. In some agricultural parts of China, for instance, these 3 stars are commonly seen and represent a plow for the planting season. Given that all the choices are true, which one provides a detail that has the most direct connection to the information that follows in the sentence? Here, the correct answer choice is A, no change, because the idea that the parts of China, the regions are agricultural, makes sense that the stars reference planting season. Number 11. It's awesome that in other parts of China, the same 3 stars appear as a constellation representing the floor-length sleeve of a woman's dress. Answer choice D is the best choice here because it removes unnecessary words from the sentence. And number 12, in other parts of Asia, this shining trio appears in the center of an hourglass-shaped drum, a chizumi. The original text here best connects with the rest of the passage, so we should choose A for no change. All right, now let's finalize this last unit by looking at the extra problems. Number 1, the human brain is made up of approximately 86 billion neurons. There are 3 classes of neurons, which are motor neurons, sensory neurons, and interneurons. Which of the following most effectively combines the 2 sentences? Here, answer choice C is the best option, which uses a colon to list the 3 classes of neurons rather than repeating the idea of classes of neurons. Number 2, my family took a long road trip from New Jersey to Maine when we camped, hiked, and canoed on a big lake. In this sentence, the word when is not appropriate because we're talking about a place and not a time. Therefore, we should replace that with where. Number 3, my sister always told me she disliked cats, and since she found one in the alley, she decided that she actually enjoyed having one as a pet. There are 2 ideas presented in the sentence which are contradictory rather than continuous. Therefore, we should use a contradictory conjunction like but. Answer choice B does so. Number 4, although I had always dreamed of competing in collegiate sports, I worked hard throughout high school and was able to sign to the track team at my dream school. This sentence, in comparison, expresses continuous ideas. Therefore, we should not use the word although, because makes more sense. And finally, number 5. The story of George Washington chopping down a cherry tree is often told to children to promote honesty. Although the story is frequently shared, most people now agree that it is actually not a true story. Which of the following most effectively combines the two sentences? The best option here is A. The story of George Washington chopping down a cherry tree, often told to children to promote honesty, is now widely regarded as fictional.